your coaching practice and the business that you run and when you were an agent, how did you really kind of break through and get up to that next higher price point and start getting those listings?
And, it's actually such a great topic because I want to say that probably 80% of the people that come to us for coaching, they say, I want to break through to the next price point, and I don't know how to do it. Now, that might mean just bumping up a couple 100,000, or it could actually mean, penetrating that into that luxury market. But that is a very common request, because if you think about it, it just makes sense. I can make more money and have more profit and basically do, the same amount of transactions is a little bit of the thinking. So when we're talking about this, one of the things that I always look at with them is, let's just outline all the different opportunities, and then we'll choose what's right for you and your market, right? Because their personalities are different. Some of them are newer to the business. Some have big databases. Some are more social. Some are less social. So there's not a one size fits all. But if we just put out on the table today, maybe a menu of what are some of the different things. And if they just choose even one and say, that could be my first step into that expired market.
Right. And that's,
that luxury market. And the reason I said expired is we were just talking about that before we got on. That's a really common way a lot of top luxury agents broke into the market. And I'll give you a perfect example. We talk about him often because he's such a great client. He's been a client for 8 years, and, he's been Wall Street Journal #1 team, and Sean Stanfield here in Huntington Beach. And when Sean got into the real estate business 30 plus years ago, he knew that he really wanted to dominate a market called Huntington Harbor. But like many high-end markets, it was very saturated with the old players, right, that had been there forever. And being a newer agent, he didn't really have the money to try to combat them by dumping a bunch of marketing dollars into that area, trying to win that way. So we thought, what's another way, that I can go about this? And there were a lot of expired listings at that time, because the market was beginning to shift. And we are seeing that in some of the luxury markets where the sellers are not realistic. That's why there's the old saying, better off to be the firstborn, the second wife, and the second or third agent on a high-end expired.
That's great.
So he started getting in front of those people, and he was enthusiastic. He was positive and aggressive, and he didn't take them if they weren't realistic about the price. So then he started selling them. And then he became known as the guy that got it done. Now, as he started to make some profit, now he started to fuel that momentum by starting to market there, and then ultimately claiming that as a farm. And then he really used that as the launching pad to spread across the south end of Huntington Beach and just keep expanding that reach. But it all really started from those expired listings.
That's great. That's a great story. The thing that comes to mind when you talk about Huntington Beach, right, for me is, okay, now let's take that theory into the non-coastal markets, okay,
right,
where how I air quote it is, luxury is coming to your neighborhood soon, okay? So the price points in places like where the Institute is headquartered in Dallas, Texas, they're just growing by leaps and bounds every year in a neighborhood that maybe wasn't considered anything close to luxury is today luxury. And so how in that situation where you have a successful agent who's worked, neighborhoods for quite some time, and now suddenly the buyers are coming in with these higher price points, and the buyers are so different than the people who are selling?
Yeah, I always think of market expert, right? So what do higher end buyers and sellers look for? And there's a top broker in Orange County. You may know him, Cameron Mirage. He owns First Team Real Estate, and he had me years ago do a whole series of focus groups with buyers or sellers in the higher end and ask, what is it that really causes you to gravitate to an agent? And their answer in different words, but all came down to the same message. They are a market expert. So a buyer wants to know, for example, if they, come to Dallas and they say, well, we're really active. We want to be near, hiking and outdoor activities, but we also like fine dining and we don't want to have to drive 30 minutes to get to a restaurant. And I don't really want a track style house. I want a community that's more interesting and established. And a great agent that knows their market would be able, it's just like a computer searching. Oh, I know exactly where to take you.
Right.
And being able to get them to where they want to be. So I think buyers are very picky today. They're less patient. They're more demanding in terms of, even though they don't pay the commission of the agent in most cases, they definitely want someone that can help them find those pockets that might be right for them. So, but then on the other hand, with sellers, it's that same market expertise, helping them decide where to price and how to target the ideal buyer and who their competition is. But I find that most agents spend very little time studying the market.
Yes, that's interesting. How do you kind of change that mindset for them? I mean,
some of it is just they just get busy.
Right.
So simple things like most markets, especially in the luxury, will have a tour day, a broker tour day, because it's too hard to get in to these properties. And our top luxury agents, they are fanatics about attending those tours. And they carry their little booklet and they ask questions of the listing agent and they gather knowledge. If they don't know that area or they don't know that architect, I mean, they're just taking notes, gathering, whether they have a buyer or not. They're just absorbing what's out there, in the industry. Also, looking at things like for your members, you have incredible reports, that you provide for them both locally and nationally. They should be studying those and using those as talking points. They should know the days on market in their MLS. They should know the absorption rate. So just really maybe time blocking the tour and maybe another hour a week to study and educate themselves on their market.